my name is Brandon, and welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find the latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. We just posted two as of this video. We posted Era, and we also posted Phineas, so definitely check those out. Stolas's set will be going up as well, along with Icarus the Owl and a local band called With Sails Ahead. Those will all be going up hopefully before I leave for launch conference. Definitely check our social media as well. I'm going to be trying to post a lot while I'm at launch conference, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And just trying to get all those videos sorted out for that week as well. But I would like to give a huge shout out to Michelle and Shirley over at Artery Recordings. Thank you so much for sending me this record early and letting me review it. That's definitely awesome. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also make sure to hit that like button as well. It really does go a long way, and thank you guys for your support. So tonight we're going to be talking about For the Win's new record, Heavy Thoughts. So, for those of you who haven't heard of For the Win, like myself, they're kind of this combination between like metalcore, pop punk, and like easycore. So definitely, genres that I like, and definitely was kind of stoked to check this out. I know they've been a band for some time, but I know they signed with Artery pretty recently, so I wanted to check this one out and give my thoughts on like the whole album and stuff like that. So we'll move into the first track, which is Us Versus Them. I feel like this track starts off very anthematic, with clean vocals, yells, screams. It just sounds very full. It feels like very much in your face, which I do enjoy. I think it's a cool way to start off a record, without a doubt. And I think it was definitely something unique, and something that I wasn't necessarily expecting from that. So really enjoyed that. Really liking the clean vocals a lot. I still think I'm still kind of on the fence about the screams. I could either take them or leave them. There's some parts where I'm like, yeah, this sounds really great, and then some parts maybe not so much. So maybe in this track it was just not right, but in a lot of other tracks I felt like the screams were not too bad, and I also feel like they kind of grow on you as well. So the chorus is definitely the strong point of this track, and a strong point of a lot of the tracks off the record, without a doubt. I think they really know how to construct a chorus very well, catchy as anything. So really enjoyed the catchy chorus on this one. I think instrumentally, it's a little bland. I felt like it was very kind of straightforward, what you would expect from that style of music. I feel like it feels very A Day to Remember-esque. I know that in the comments they were talking about like, they're very much like A Day to Remember. And I can definitely tell that comparison, but I also feel like they have stuff that differentiates themselves as well. So definitely, I definitely love A Day to Remember, and so I felt like this was, a good, I guess, newer style band that is trying to continue that sort of A Day to Remember sort of train with that. And I also feel like this is a great track to kind of start off the record, without a doubt. I feel like it kind of just pulls you in and gets you, kind of excited for how the rest of the record sounds, in that regard. So we'll move into the next track, which is G Series. I definitely feel like this one has a little bit more pop punk flavor to it, as well as it has that sort of A Day to Remember sort of formula to it. It feels very A Day to Remember-esque, definitely. Another really awesome, catchy chorus. I think they really did an awesome job, again, with the choruses. I think they just kind of knocked them out of the park in that regard. Also enjoying the vocal layering as well. I like, the harmonies and just maybe like the little additives that they add on. I feel like it adds this cool sort of depth. And it kind of adds a little bit more depth to the vocals as well, in terms of style-wise. Really enjoying the cleans a lot. Again, I feel like it reminds me at some points like Derek from State Champs in some regard. Maybe it might have a lot to do with instrumentals and vocally, but I thought it was pretty cool. And then I felt like the breakdown in this track was just a little bit bland. I felt like these tracks are a little bit more straightforward, than I guess A Day to Remember, what I would say. But I feel like it was very kind of just not, there's just nothing special about it. It felt very like just generic. So really didn't like that, but overall, I thought the track was pretty good. So we'll move it into track number three, which is All or Nothing. This one's definitely one of my favorite tracks off the record. It has this very strong state champ vibe to it. Been a big fan of state champs for a while, so definitely enjoyed that. Very sort of pop punky. I felt like it took, it doesn't really have that much more metalcore, easycore. It's very kind of, pop punk esque in that regard. Vocally, I think this track is one of my favorites. Another really awesome, catchy chorus. I think they've just been on a roll with those. And then instrumentally, really solid stuff. I think they kind of stepped up their game from the last track, G Series, in my opinion. And I really like the vocal layering as well in this track. Too. So we'll move it into track number four, which is The Weight of the World. Another one of my favorite tracks off the record as well. Another great track vocally. I think that this one is a little bit heavier than a lot of the other tracks off the record. And I really liking that cool sort of like, I guess it's sort of like distant intro. You would just have to listen to it when you listen to the album, but I like that sort of like distant-y sort of sound, and then they really kind of just pulls in after that, and then it kind of goes right into that track. I really feel like this track really wants to make you move, which I do appreciate. I don't think I'm a fan of the screaming on this record. I thought I would give it a chance. I listened to it a few times over, and it just didn't really pull me. I felt like it was just not necessary to, at least in my opinion. I thought the breakdown in this track was really cool as well, and I'm sort of liking the overall ambience to this track. It has this nice sort of depth to it. So definitely check out Weight of the World. I think it's an interesting track to check out. So we'll move it into the next track, track number five, which is Nowhere to Run. Another one of my favorite tracks. I feel like this track has sort of a secret sort of vibe to it. Another really super catchy chorus. I think they've, again, been on a roll with the choruses. I really haven't had a complaint with those. I thought the middle breakdown was pretty interesting as well. And I think this track is just catchy in general, not just speaking for the chorus. However, I do think the chorus is catchy, and I felt I needed to elaborate on that. I like the vocal layering as well. I thought that was very awesome. And I feel like this track has more heavy and melodic things just without the screaming. So really enjoyed that it's kind of like, I guess, like post-hardcore sort of metal. I would definitely say post-hardcore-ish in this track, so with maybe some like pop punky sort of vibes in there as well. So I felt like this one was a great one. I felt like it was a little bit different from a lot of the other tracks that they had released. So really enjoyed that one. So we'll move it into track number six, which is Dancing Shoes. This one is one of the singles that they released. I think they released a music video with this one. And I really like the lead into the intro, into the breakdown. That's really interesting. I like that they switched it up a little bit. Really liking the lead guitar on this track as well. And I felt like this one does have that sort of a day to remember vibe. And obviously with the single, to me, I feel like you can't base the album off the singles. The singles could possibly be the worst tracks off the record, or they could be the best tracks off the record. So I felt like it was kind of a not good representation of what the album sounds like in regards to just the singles. If you just base this album off the singles, then you're going to be missing out on some really good tracks that, you wouldn't necessarily have heard if you just based the album off the singles. So, I like the sort of anthematic approach to the chorus. I think that was really awesome. And I think For the Rent, when it hits that genre ranging between like metalcore, post-hardcore, pop punk, easycore. So I really think they do hit a lot of different genres, and I definitely think that they have that sort of variety to them. So really enjoyed this track as well. So we'll move it into track number seven, which is How Can I Get Back to You. This one is absolutely my favorite off the entire record. I'll say it easy. This one just has this super catchy, fun vibes to it, as well as it's very sort of pop punky esque. I think the chorus sounds awesome, and it has this sort of huge soundingness to it. Definitely my favorite track vocally. Very State Champs esque with like the melodies, the vocal runs, and stuff like that. I think it's very awesome. Really loving the instrumentals on this track. I think they went all out on this track, in my opinion, instrumentally wise. I feel like it very much matches up with the vocals on this track in particular. And then I also love the sort of vocal layering with either the harmonies or like, the melody lines as well with that one too. Um, and I thought at the end, they do a nice, really key change to this, which is awesome. I don't really hear that too often in that style of music, so I thought that it was definitely something to note and point out. And without a doubt, this one's my favorite track off the record. I can even just jam this track and be completely fine. So really enjoyed that one. So we'll move it into track number 8, which is Heavy Thoughts. This, the title track of the record. This one has this sort of bouncy, sort of fun vibe to it. Another really, really catchy track. I think they have just created an album that's really catchy. While it does have a familiarity to it, I think they definitely have this sort of different vibes to them. And this one has a really good combination of pop punk and easycore as well. And this one's definitely one of my favorites just because it's got this sort of fun, poppy, sort of bouncy vibes to it. So I really enjoyed that one. So we'll move it into track number 9, which is Crash and Burn. This one is another one of my favorites. This was actually the first single that they released. And I'm definitely getting those strong A Day to Remember vibes as well. I know the two singles that they released felt very A Day to Remember-esque, so that's probably why I enjoyed them a lot. But after listening to them, probably listened to this album maybe like at least 10 times before I did this. But I really enjoyed this one. It just has this sort of catchiness to it again. And then I'm loving the vocal melodies. I like that it was just pretty much cleans on this track in general. Especially, I guess towards the end there's a little bit of screaming, but for the most part it's mostly singing, which I really enjoy. I thought this was another really strong vocal performance as well. I think it was really awesome, and then the vocal layering has just been on point this entire album. So really enjoyed that. And this one again is one of my favorites. Out of the two singles, this one I think is a little bit better than Dancing Shoes, though I think Dancing Shoes is definitely for that heavier crowd, without a doubt. And so we'll move it into track number 10, the last track, Until the End of Time. This is an acoustic track. I like that they ended it this way for the record. I think it's a great way to kind of end it out. I like this sort of stripped back tracks. I feel like you're able to tell, musician wise, how good they are, how they are, with composing a heavier track or composing like an acoustic track. So I like the diversity in that regard. I think they really did a really good job on this track. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I think it's a good kind of acoustic track to round out the record. So we'll move into the pros and cons of the record. Some big pros, I think it's really catchy. Like, if I didn't think A Day to Remember existed, which obviously probably this band wouldn't exist if A Day to Remember didn't exist, but I felt like it's real catchy. Like, if I just didn't think about A Day to Remember, I just thought of it as For the Win. I think this is just a really solid record, and I think people will enjoy it as well. Hopefully, I know a lot of people have just again been mentioning A Day to Remember a lot, but I think that's kind of a generalization. I definitely feel like there are some parts and some tracks that feel very A Day to Remember esque. But at the same time, I feel like they have tracks that don't really kind of fit that mold. Like How Can I Get Back to You, Heavy Thoughts, Nowhere to Run. I feel like those tracks to me kind of differentiated themselves from, A Day to Remember. While they do have some connections with a lot of other bands I mentioned, like Secret or, State Champs, I felt like they were kind of amalgamation of those three bands, without a doubt. So really enjoyed it. Some cons, I felt like the screaming could be hit or miss, in my opinion. Me personally, I really didn't enjoy them. I felt like it was kind of like a non-issue for me. I really didn't enjoy it too much. But to each their own. I felt like they could have just gotten away with just singing, but who knows? But otherwise, I thought it was a really solid record for not hearing of them previously, and just a really solid sort of easycore, pop punky sort of post-hardcore album. I think it's just a really good mix of all those genres that I've been mentioning, and it's a solid effort from them. So my overall rating of For the Win's Heavy Thoughts record, it's going to be an 8.8 out of 10. I think it's definitely a record to definitely check out. I think that it's not for everybody. As well as I feel like, some people might have those overarching themes where it's like, oh, it sounds like A Day to Remember. Why don't I just listen to A Day to Remember? Well, you can just listen to A Day to Remember if you want. But I felt like they have a little bit more to offer and just something different to offer as well. So I would, if it was my opinion, I would definitely check it out. And I would definitely suggest just giving it a listen. And let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on it. What your thoughts are on the singles. Do you think that the rest of the record will sound like that? Do you think that they are kind of copying A Day to Remember? Definitely let me know in the comments. I'd like to have a chat about that, certainly. So also let me know if you have been a For the Win fan for a while. Let me know what their past records have sounded like, and if I should check them out as well too. So if you enjoy what we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure to hit that like button as well. And if you enjoy us a lot, we have a merch store. Links are in the description if you want to check out that as well. So, thank you guys for checking out the review. My name is Brandon, and we hope you got your fix. And we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, of course. If you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.